even as I watch like Trump and his and the way that the posture of African presidents and the posture of Africa towards different actions that Trump is doing. And some of them you realize like it's an own goal.
Yeah.
You know, like you're just chilling in your country. Trump is doing everything that he's doing. And you seek him. And it's just like, maybe he was never going to do anything.
Yeah.
But you created some fear in your mind and decided that you should respond or do something, you know. You know, probably, I'm sure in the US plan, there must be a line there that says, and still fear in Africans. Like,
That sounds like something I would do.
that was like your master plan, you know?
Chalatos.
You know what I mean? And it's like, that's wild, you know?
I mean, look at that $1 cent. They're putting eyes, pyramids, third eyes, pyramids.
The sapiosexual platter.
Here's a hard question. Are you living your life or are you simply managing your fears? Because let's admit it, most of us are inclined to what's predictable rather than following our passions. And even as Africa changes, many of us remain stuck, not because of the absence of opportunity, but because of fear dressed up as wisdom. On today's episode, we will be interrogating this shadow. My name is Shatani Somalakai.
And I am Belse Abo Ame.
Welcome to the Sapiosexual Platter.
Boom.
You're supposed to act scared.
Oh, girl, I don't have no fear.
Yeah, you should have actually done that to me. Actually, might have worked.
I get it. I'm listening.
Yeah. No, I just think that it's important to discuss this topic.
Yeah.
Because in my personal observation, particularly in the past 2 weeks, certain events have taken place where I had this realization that a lot of people don't realize that they're being subconsciously driven by fear.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't know that they're scared.
Yeah.
You know, they think they can't do certain things in their lives because like the absence of opportunity, because, you know, things aren't aligning.
Yeah.
But what if they just admitted that deep down on the inside, they are shit scared? I'm sorry to use that French.
Yeah.
But literally, I think people are scared. Yeah.
Why do you think people are scared?
Because there's so many changes, you know, and there's so much going on, so much unpredictability, you know, so many ways. I think really so many waves of change, and people just find themselves not knowing, like, should I touch here, leave there? There's a lot of information as well. So you never know, like, who's right, who's wrong. So I think that kind of environment tends to create fear, you know. But I'm like, if we're going to win, you kind of have to make a decision, because that's the nature of change. It will destabilize you. So you kind of have to get to a moment like the Israelites between the Egyptians running after them and, you know, a Red Sea, you know, and, you know, have the faith that the Red Sea will part. But that can only happen if you have the chutzpah to just kind of run, you know. But if you don't, then you just end up crumbling, you know. And I think a lot of us are crumbling in fear.
What is the seed of that fear?
What do you think the seed of
I don't know. I really don't know. That's why I be asking you. I'm like, what is the seed of that fear?
You know, I think in the context of Botswana, because I don't know about other countries.
Yeah.
But I think Botswana, I think the seed is just the fact that we've always had such deep comfort and protection. And so we've never built a muscle of fighting. And a muscle of faith and a muscle of bravado. So just when something little, you know, just somebody just needs to say something, you know what I mean? And something small, and it just the ruckus that it causes when you relative to what is being done.
Yeah.
You just can't understand like this happened and the direct correlation, it doesn't make any sense. The math doesn't math in that sense. And I think it's because we just don't have that muscle of Ushaka. Belle's been watching Shaka, guys. She's so obsessed. I'm gonna get on it, but yeah.
I don't know. I think fear is a very complex conversation to tackle, because like I wonder, what I was asking you, like what are the causes of fear, and then like also what is the use of fear, and what's the point of infliction of the feeling of fear? Because like I wonder how in somebody's living journey, at what point do they have that first encounter with fear, and what also just perpetuates that into more? Because I feel like emotions grow, so like you grow in love, you grow in joy, so fear also feels like something that grows over time. And I'm like, when I listen to all these different motivators, different speakers, you know, especially from maybe like a religious background, it'll be like, oh, fear is a spirit. And I'm like, okay, what is it about fear or anxiety that makes it a spirit, but makes other emotions more valid and not of a spirit? I don't know if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
It's like there's a separation of fear to other emotions. If you feel sad, it's not a spirit, it's just a vibration.
Yeah.
You know, but with fear, it's like they'll be like, oh, it's a spirit that attracts other spirits, you know. And then it's just like, what is it about this thing that magnifies it to that level? And I just wonder, in a child's journey, at what point do they face or encounter fear? I don't know. It's just a very complex topic.
Yeah, you've asked like 10 million questions.
Yeah, I just have 10
many of
million
which I don't have the answer to. So I have no idea where this conversation is going.
Yeah.
But that point about it being a spirit is a powerful point, because to actually support that, there's scripture that says he has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. So yeah, I never noted the reference to spirit as a fear. Sorry, to fear as a spirit.
Yeah.
Before we even get into that, what do you think people's relationship with fear is?
I don't know what people's relationships with fear is.
Okay, what is your relationship with fear?
I don't think I have a very healthy relationship with fear.
Oh, really?
No, I don't
I
think I
wouldn't
have
expect you to say that.
No, I don't think I have a healthy relationship with fear, only because I think fear is a tool. It's a tool. There is the spiritual aspect of fear, but then there's also like a use of fear. Like if, let's say, there's a fire there, you need to instill fear in a child to know that if you go there, there's harm,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So it's a tool of like governing actions. With fear, I feel like I don't have a good relationship with it, because I am bold at times.
The type to just jump in the fire anyway.
Yeah. I just jump in the fire and I'm like, oh, it's hot. Oh, shit, we're boiling. So I don't think I have a healthy relationship with fear like that, because I feel like at a point it makes people measured. And I think there is a limitation to being the extreme of both ends, like being so fearful that you can't act, and having such a lack of fear that you just
Ignore.
go. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's an ignore thing for me. It's just
Just dive in.
my mind is set on one thing, and absolutely nobody or anything is going to stop me. And then when I'm in the fire, I'm like, why didn't you guys tell me it's hot? Why didn't you guys tell me it's hot? You know? So for me, that's why I'm like, with this conversation, I like that we're on both ends of the spectrum, where you've observed that level of fear in people. I think in relation to just our immediate society and Africa at large, I don't necessarily think the people of Africa have a spirit of fear. I just think that they are in an unknowing or a lack of understanding. And I think that fear in itself is a seed of lack of understanding. Because once you bring understanding to something, it eliminates
The fear.
So I think with Africa, it's like we don't know about our history. We don't know why the world has worked out the way that it is to find ourselves in the place that we're at. That because of that lack of understanding of, oh, how come it was us who became slaves? How come it was us that were colonized? Oh, how come we were treated like this in the past? Just that lack of understanding creates the seed of fear. But I don't think an African person goes out to be fearful or is fearful. I just think we're just in a very deep haze that ultimately leads to fear with a lot of things because we just don't have understanding of why things have evolved the way that they have.
Powerful.
Yeah.
I feel
Thank
like
you.
that's it. Like, I feel like you answered the question for me.
Okay, what is the question?
I mean, it's not the question, but like,
Yeah.
you know, because this conversation started like a few days back.
Yeah.
And it was that I was telling her, like, I just realized so many people are living in fear. And, you know, just reflecting back on some of my client experiences where the qualms that the clients were expressing, for me, just when I was listening to them, they didn't say, oh, I'm scared. But you could tell in the complaint, in the way that it was being, you know, shared, in the way that they were sharing their concerns about an issue, that they were just scared, you know, and I almost just had to come and hug them and say, it's going to be okay. But I was just that, like, I don't understand why you're so scared of this thing. It's not that deep, you know. But then I was like, yeah, maybe because I'm a lawyer and whatever. But I was like, but people are really scared, you know. And I like that point because it just elucidated why, which is ignorance.
Yeah.
If people don't know their power, if people don't know who they are, then anything can scare them.
Yeah.
Because you're always moving from a place of unknowing.
Yeah.
And I guess with Africa, the lack of knowledge is so deep.
Yeah.
And not only lack of knowledge of ourselves, but also lack of knowledge of the people that we are interacting with, the nations we're interacting with.
Yeah.
When you go to their country and you see how they live and how they do things, it does empower you in a sense. Like where I've traveled and I've seen, you know, how things are done elsewhere and how the people live, I come back like, I don't know why I had maybe placed
them on a higher
pedestal. As far as I'm concerned, they can come and learn a few things from me, you know, and the way we do things here.
Yeah.
So I like that point about knowledge.
Yeah, I think also in relation to like your clients and other people just having fear, I think people just also ultimately fear things that they don't have or they don't feel a sense of control over. So it's like if you are entering uncharted waters, you'd be like, I don't know the roots of this water. I don't know where it flows to, what the streams are. And because you can't perceive danger or safety, you just end up having fear because you don't have any control over the situation. And back to your clients, I think it is that where it's just like, I don't have any control over this experience that I'm having. So when you don't have control, you can't influence outcomes.
Or when you think you don't have control. That's the other thing.
I think control, there's certain things that we have full control over, and then there's certain things that the control is shared. Yeah. So you can know the power that you have, but having power doesn't necessarily mean you have control. You can have a stance if somebody says, this is my organization and this is how things flow, and then you would say, I have the power and this is what I understand of myself, then you can be like, I remove myself from the situation, that's my power. But if you want to stay in the situation and still know your power,
then it becomes a little
it's
complex.
Yeah, it becomes complex. You
Yeah.
fear like, okay, I don't know what this person is thinking or how they're going to move or what they think on this or how they're prepared to navigate this. And it becomes just unsettling that you end up just having fear and anxiety.
I feel you. I remember an experience we had together.
Yeah.
One time we were jogging on the airport road.
Yeah.
And we decided after the jog that we would do some exercises. And we were exercising. Then, it wasn't that dark, but
Yeah.
So we ended up going to the car. And then this guy came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And like the way that he scared my soul, took my phone, he had like a knife, but like must have been like a butter knife or something. And so Belle was sitting in the other seat.
Yeah.
And because I was so unsettled by it, and she in that moment had like enough sense or like calm or the absence of fear that when he said bring it, because she knew he was asking for his phone, she gave
My phone.
for her phone.
Yeah.
She gave him his headsets. She's like, yeah, the headsets. And he was so confused.
I said, you want the headsets?
And then just headsets. And then he left. And that whole time I was just like, why didn't I give him my headsets? Like, it was just... Because he walked away with my phone. And so just like, for me, you're that person that has, like you said, to your point, like no fear. So
I still have a little bit.
some, but
Sometimes.
minimal, let me tell you. And also, I feel like you're also good at channeling your absence of fear onto others. So she...
Oh, thank you for that. I never knew that.
Yeah,
about myself.
like a lot of... Like when I quit my job.
Lunch, yeah.
She didn't do... She was behind the scenes. And if you were there, like, and you were seeing what she was directing...
I think I had fear though. I had fear with that one. Like at first I didn't have fear, but then when you started telling me like, oh, so-and-so said, take this down. This is what the law fraternity is saying. Then like, I think your emotions got transferred to me. And then I was just like, out.
I need to cancel that spirit.
Yeah, like I was just like out, like, we know what we're doing here. We know what we're doing. And I remember saying to you like, you know what the plot is. You know what the outcome
like,
is.
Remember? And I was
They
like,
don't know what the final story is, so they're reacting off what's there, but we know the whole picture.
Yeah. So my thing is, where do you get that?
The lack of fear.
Because
God gave me the spirit of
because
love.
there's obviously a thread in your life
Yeah.
where it's like from, doing your studying overseas.
Yeah.
And just having that clarity from a young age. And then coming back and saying, I'm going to pursue makeup.
Yeah.
And then deciding, you know what, I'm actually going to get into branding, marketing.
Yeah.
And, all the creative producer stuff that you're doing right now is an evident thread of I do what I want when I want to do it.
Yeah.
And can nobody stop me?
Yeah.
And that's where most people are stuck at. Most people aren't living the life they want to live.
Yeah.
They think it's because of their lack of opportunity. They think it's because they read a book and the book said there must be 10 steps and they only took one step. But if you really assess it, it is that fear, which you clearly don't have because of all the things that you've been able to do.
Yeah.
What is it about you?
Yeah. This is a self-reflection journal diary. I just think God, man.
Amen.
Yeah. I just think that's it. I can't even be like, oh, I did something one day and then this happened. I just think it's just God. Like having an understanding of, an innate understanding of God. Because you can understand God through the word or whatever, however you interact with higher power, infinite universe, whatever is your practice. But I think when you have an innate knowing of God and how God works, you still have fear, but it's hard to keep it in yourself. And I think one thing that really registered from a young age when I was a child was like, there's only one thing you should fear, which is God. Yeah. So then for me, anything that is outside of God, I didn't see the need to fear, because I felt like if I fear anything outside of God, it's a disrespect to God and his power. So like the only choice I have is to fear God. And fearing God is not about, oh, I'm afraid of God, but it's just more living in the righteousness of God and like really choosing your purpose, your passion, and innately listening to the communication that God has over your life. Because then I think when you move instinctfully, or if you live a life of instincts and a life that is navigated by God for you, there's a spiritual reliance that takes place that you then don't see the need to fear what's in the physical. Yeah.
That's powerful.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's definitely powerful.
Thank you.
And I think that moves us into, it's like your answer was also kind of like a point one in terms of how to overcome fear, which is, you know, belief and a knowing of the divine in you.
Yeah.
A God,
Yeah.
you know, and that if you place that above everything else, then you have nothing to fear.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people fear man. They fear man in titles. They fear man in uniform. They fear man in different forms, man in talent.
Yeah.
That, you know, somebody comes, they have these talents, they easily intimidate you. And it's like, yeah, but whatever they have inside of them, that's
You have it
you have
also.
it too. But it's because you've placed that which you see in the physical above the spiritual knowing and understanding. So I think the first thing is obviously to know God, honor God, and place him above everything else.
Yeah. But you know, it doesn't end there though. Because I feel like in as much as you have a knowing about God, there comes like the trials.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Like there comes the trials where it's like, yeah, I may have the default mode of being fearless, but fear visits me. It's a spirit, you know, like there are different instances that happen in your life or different encounters you have with people that open the window for the spirit of fear to visit you, even if you're the most fearless of people. And I think in that instance, it's in addition to what you're saying, it's just having a relationship and program or a system for yourself that nurtures your faith. Because even as much as fearless as I grew up to be, there was a point, I think in 2019 or 2020, where I realized that my faith is based on theory than practicality. It's like theoretically I go to church, theoretically I read the word, I listen to the word, theoretically I know the concepts in relation to God and fear and faith. But then in action, certain parts of my life gave me evidence that, oh, you actually do have fear. Because I was like, okay, why are you not doing this project? Why haven't you started? Surely it's not time and resources. It's something innate in you. You know, why is your perception of this like this? Surely it's not just, oh, you're programmed that way. It's a spirit of fear in one regard or the other. So yeah, I just had a rude awakening at the time that like, oh my God, I need to build my faith. And faith grows. It's not a one seed planted and then you ignore the seed. It's like, no, you plant the seed of faith in order to sort of chase out fear that is in you. But then you have to like water it. You have to germinate it. You have to put a shade over it. You just have to do different things that cultivate that plant of faith in you. And yeah, it's just interesting. It doesn't mean that because I think also maybe why I'm fearless may be also down to my temperament, or in such a situation where we're attacked, the stillness could be because of the temperament that I was given from a young age to just be bold unnecessarily. But it doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to experience certain things. You would
You will still have it. But
but
the
faith
idea
is
is
a
to
big
always
one.
have the faith overriding the fear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love that. I think for me, another one is definitely investing in understanding.
Definitely.
And that one, like on a very serious level, understanding that people will go to several lengths to instill fear inside of you. And that's something I think only came to a real awareness of as I grew up. That, wow, you really wanted to scare me.
Yeah.
And that was your plan. That was in...
That sounds like something I would do.
That was like your master plan.
Yeah.
You know?
Dale-tos.
You know what I mean? And it's like, that's wild, you know? And so just understanding human nature,
Yeah.
understanding the world. Even as I watch like Trump and his you know, the relation with Africa.
Yeah.
And the way that the posture of African presidents and the posture of Africa towards different actions that Trump is doing. And some of them you realize like it's an own goal.
Yeah.
You know, like you're just chilling in your country. Trump is doing everything that he's doing. And you seek him, and it's just like maybe he was never gonna do anything.
Yeah.
But you created some fear in your mind
Yeah.
and decided that you should respond or do something, you know. And then just realizing that, you know, probably I'm sure in the US plan,
Yeah.
there must be a line there that says instill fear in Africans. Like,
Yeah.
you know, not to be politically wild or anything like that.
I
but
believe there's
you know what I mean? Because
I mean, look at that $1 cent. They're putting eyes, pyramids,
You
dead
know what I
eyes.
mean?
I'm sure there's something
and
there of
so
that
it's
sort.
just yeah, I think it's definitely understanding. You have to have want to understand.
Yeah.
You have to, and different ways of understanding at spiritual level, you know, at, you know, material level, on a financial level, because fear is instilled in different ways. And it's in the ways that you don't invest in that come in and seep through and compromise you.
Yeah.
You know, the fear of money, for example,
Yeah.
how people don't start things because they think they don't have money, when what you don't have is resources.
Yeah.
I think it's a fear that's kind of instilled, like
Yeah.
in the absence of 100 pula in the account, it means zero opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's where like the thing about lack of knowledge comes into play. Yeah.
I like that. And I like the point that you made about America and just how they have, you know, in fine print somewhere possibly that, you know, instill fear in them. And it brings me to like a point that I love to say that, you know, and I think before I get to the point that I like to say, it brings me first to what you once said when we spoke about does the devil exist or not? And we touched on fear. And you said something to the effect that you've realized that when dark employs dark, you know, things tend to be resolved.
Yeah.
Because you are fighting within the same rules of engagement and the same energy. So it interacts and clears itself out better when like and like are interacting in that sense. So I even just like that point, you know, about what America is doing. And I feel like as individuals, as societies, you just also have to boldly instill fear in people.
Yeah.
You know, I think fear is a necessary tool, especially when it comes to leadership. You must be feared as a leader. If you're not feared, then it's so hard to get respect. And we're not trying to say that it's the type of fear that
You're coming in beating people up.
or
Yeah.
you know, leaving them like feeling less empowered. No, it's the type of fear that when you enter different rooms, people must feel your presence and should know that you're not the one to fuck about with. Simple as that. So even when you've got, you know, your clients who experience different things wherever they experience them and they feel that sense of fear, immediately as you feel that sensation, just channel it back into yourself and say, the same way that I feel this fear, I now transmute this fear. And I'm going to make any person who's making me feel this fear back. I would return it back to sender.
Yeah.
And in as much as fear is something that tends to give us a lot of anxiety, let's also just examine it in the positive sense and ask ourselves, like, how can we have a better interaction with fear in the sense that instead of it being this spirit or this emotion that, unsettles our energies and makes us feel less grounded. How can we channel more of that and use it?
Game on.
Yeah, and say game on. You're intimidating me.
Okay.
I'm going to do the same back at you.
Yeah.
Because even just being a young woman, when you're just in these entrepreneur, streets, people use a lot of tactics. You have men who use that masculine energy to hover over you and make
I
you feel
literally
a
had an
certain
experience
way.
like that yesterday.
Really?
Yeah. Guys, it was so wild. This man came to the office uninvited. He's upset about a stance that one of my clients has taken.
Yeah.
And then he decided to linger for 10 minutes. He went on and on about, he's just so upset. Then he started bringing the government in, we're a human rights government, what your client is doing. And then he stood up.
Yeah.
And he's still addressing me and my PA and like looking at him like, honestly, you're not even supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Then he goes to the reception,
Yeah.
creates a hullabaloo.
Yeah.
And by the time I think he left an hour later.
Yeah.
And at some point I was like, should I call the police or what?
Yeah.
Then when he finally left, everybody was like, he was doing that because you're young and you're a woman.
That's what they do.
It's like, that man would have done that.
Never.
Yeah, anyway, to your
should
point.
call me.
Yeah,
and
next
still
time.
the fear of the Lord in people. Yeah. And on that note, guys, fear is fear. Illuminate your understanding, build your grounding so that you feel more in control of certain situations that you wouldn't have much control over. At least you can control yourself and how you feel towards it and what your role is. And more importantly, fear can be a negative thing, often is a negative thing, but it can be transmuted into the positive. And that is by you channeling it and using it as a tool to get more regard, more respect. You just have to instill the fear of the Lord on the people, so that they navigate and move life in a way that's more favorable to you. My name is Belsa Abo Ame.
I am Shatani Samalakai.
And you've been watching
The Sapiosexual Platter.